Hi there, thank you for joining me. The title of today's subject is called You, a Quantum Phenomenon. Who are you? Why are you here? What is the nature of reality? Is there more than one reality? Are we simply a fleeting phenomenon in space-time activity? Do we have any say or control in our lives? Or are we simply subject to the laws of nature? We come, we exist for a little time, and then we disappear. What is our highest potential? And is there a threshold to that? Is there a limit? These may seem like philosophical questions, but believe me, they're not. What if I told you there is a language that bridges the gap between what we call reality and what we call philosophy? That according to the latest studies in the fields of neuroscience, quantum mechanics, epigenetics, neuropsychology, neuroendocrinology, our view of reality has completely shifted from simply being a matter-oriented reality to something larger. That we're not merely just actors on a stage, but that perhaps we have a potential, if we want, to become the directors of the stage as well. So stay with me, because this is not a motivational lecture on positive thinking. It is a science-oriented approach where we will attempt to fill the basic knowledge gaps that we have in the view of our reality, in the way we consider our reality to be real. We'll go through the mechanics step by step. We will attempt to create a model that is not rigid, it's not concrete, but rather fluid in developing our understanding of our version of the reality that we want to see. I only have one request. As we start this complicated subject, I will review the scientific knowledge, the mathematical knowledge, the knowledge gaps that we have in our understanding. I don't want you to be afraid. I don't want you to be afraid of the science. It is not there to make us afraid. It is there to encourage us. So knowledge must be encouraged. It should not be feared. That is my only request. Now, studies show that when you come to a point where you don't understand something, right? You don't understand it, and you move past that point, and you go on reading or listening, studies show that your activity of comprehension, your knowledge absorption ability, the ability for you to take that knowledge and integrate it within the systems of your brain wiring decreases substantially. So you're going on reading, but if someone turns around and asks you, what did you read about? You won't be able to talk about it. That means you have ceased understanding past that point. So in this lecture, I will try to attempt to make sense of a topic in 2, 3, 4 different ways. But if you don't understand it, stop it at that point, revisit the lecture, revisit, rewind, research, understand it before you proceed watching this video forwards. All right? And without further ado, let's get started. I hope you enjoy this. Hi there, thanks for joining me. In this particular presentation, we're going to look at some basic principles of the nature of our universe. Why is it important? Because we're a part of that universe. And mathematicians, scientists, physicists, from the beginning of time, have always struggled with the nature of our existence, the nature of our universe. We're going to go very briefly through the chronology of how the nature of reality was divided. And from that point of view, we will get a better understanding of how mathematicians and physicists approached the nature of our universe. In understanding that, we'll be able to understand where we belong in this quantum field of reality. So let us begin from the beginning. Initially, mathematicians and scientists had divided the nature of reality into two sections. First being the observable world of matter, that is our physical world, and second being the world of thoughts or the world of mind, right? What mathematicians said was, we cannot make measurements on anything that is intangible. We can only make measurements on observable, tangible things. So physicists like Sir Isaac Newton, Descartes, they came around and they said the universe can be divided into the physical world, the material world, and the non-physical world. The non-material world, that which we cannot see or perceive by our senses. The physical world became the domain of science. The non-physical world, the world of the mind, the world of thoughts, became the world of philosophy. It came under the domain of religion, under the domain of God, because it was unexplainable. You cannot measure something that is not tangible, that is not material. So when they divided the nature of reality, importance was placed only on physical reality. And what did they define the physical reality to be? A predictable model. It was a mechanistic tool that could be predicted, that could be accounted for. There was no room for anomalies. The entire universe, including galaxies, planets, the solar system, the laws of gravity, the laws of space and time, everything applied and everything was calculated to the T. There was no discrepancy in that calculation. The universe became a very predictive model because matter was observable, right? According to Descartes, matter was always in a state of solid, and energy was defined as an external force that was applied to matter to change its states from solid to liquid to gas. So energy was considered to be an external force applied to change the states of matter, right? Moreover, Newton comes around and he starts introducing the laws of motion. Okay, laws of gravity are established where we say that if we take a ball and we throw it, it will always go towards the center of the earth with a certain force that is applied to it given its weight. You can determine the time it will take for that ball to fall from one place to another, right? Today, because of these laws, we're able to take a rocket and fly to the moon, right? So these laws were established and the physical world was a predictable model, right? There was no room for discrepancy, right? And human beings, therefore, became part of that model. There was no free will. We were just a physical phenomenon existing in a space-time dimension. In the physical world, objects are separate, right? And we experience time. The notion of space-time was created in our 3D reality, that if I am here in this place, localized in this place and time, and if I want to move on this side and I'm localized in this space and time, going from one point to another, I'm going to experience time. As I move through space, I'm going to experience time because I am a separate object from two localized point of views, right? And because of this idea of separation, the idea of distance, time, and speed came about. And this is how our physical world was created. It was a predictable model. Now, what about the other part? What about the one that was immaterial? That was the world of the spiritual, or the world of religion, or the world of philosophy. In this part of the world, people couldn't quantify anything because there was nothing material. What they could understand was that it was the world of thoughts, it was the world of ideas, it was the world of concepts. But they are intangible things. Concept doesn't have a form, it doesn't have matter, it doesn't have any physical reality. It is non-physical. It is not localized in one place or point or time. It is non-local, right? Thoughts don't have a place, they don't occupy space. So these world of concepts didn't really have a tangible reality, right? So for the longest time, the nature of reality was divided into the physical. The physical was a predictive model. The physical took away the autonomy from you as a creative entity and placed you in a model. And we could predict then certain things about you, how you will work in this dimension, how you will move in this dimension, the forces that will be acting upon you, and you're simply a fleeting phenomenon in the physical reality that is very predictable. The world of the spiritual or the mental world, on the other hand, was something that was intangible. stay with me, because in the second half of the lecture, we will see if the intangible world was really something imaginary, or does it have its roots in something even more prominent. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back. So let's now look at the second half of the nature of reality, and that is the nature of the mental world, the world of thoughts, ideas, concepts. Okay, so fast forward to about 100 years or so, Albert Einstein comes around and he says, listen, if you want to understand the nature of the universe, right? So if you want to understand the ocean, it's good enough that we just simply take a drop of the ocean and measure that, because the chances are that the properties in the drop of the ocean will be exactly the same as the properties of the ocean. The same phenomenon was applied to the nature of the universe. Einstein comes around, and many other scientists prior to him are interested in what's called the subatomic particles in the subatomic world of an atom in order to study the nature of the entire universe. Why? Because material objects in your 3 dimensions in the physical world is made up of atoms. Atoms are the basic building blocks of nature. Anything physical has its building blocks in forms of atoms. So we're all made of atoms. Anything tangible is made of atoms. Now, when you look at an atom, if we just go back to Science 101, an atom is made of a proton, neutron, electrons. The nucleus of an atom consists of protons, which are positively charged particles, neutrons, which are neutral. They make up the nucleus of the atom, and then you've got electrons all around the circumference, and these electrons are negatively charged particles, and they share a field of a magnetic pull, right? So the electrons don't fly away. So there's a magnetic pull from the nucleus through the electrons, and it creates a field of energy. So what scientists thought was, in the 3-dimensional reality, the laws of speed, time, space, gravitational laws of thermodynamics, they all apply to objects, right? And in the physical world. Well, then what happens in the subatomic worlds? If atoms are obeying, right, trillions and trillions of atoms put together create matter. If they're obeying these laws, then what they postulated was that at the subatomic level, they should also obey these laws. That means it should be predictable. But when they actually took one atom out of the trillions that make up a solid object in your 3D reality, when they took only one and they studied it, they found out something completely different. They realized that the nucleus was present. It was very minuscule, right? Because an atom is extremely small. It cannot be, you need a very strong electron microscope to even track one atom. Inside that atom, the nucleus was in the center, but the electrons that they expected to be around the nucleus were not there. So that basically meant that the electrons were a fleeting phenomenon. They were in a field of probability, but not visible. So to give you an example, if you think of the nucleus as a Volkswagen Beetle bang on in the center of Toronto in the GTA, the chances of you finding an electron would be anywhere in Ontario. So the atom can only get its physical existence if the electron is present. But if the electron is that far away, right, in all of Ontario, where are you going to look at? Where are you going to find it? Right? Another thing that they observed was, not only are the electrons unpredictable, not only can they not be found, but if an observer came and looked for the electron, so if an examiner came and expected the electron to be somewhere, it appeared there. If another observer came and looked for the electron and expected it to be here, it would appear here. And the moment the observer turned away, the electron would disappear in a potential, which meant that there is a governing field of energy, light, and frequency that is at play, right? That electrons are disappearing and appearing implies that there is a frequency here that is governing the probability that matter will appear. So let me say this another way. If I'm looking for an electron, it's in a field of probability. If I expect the electron to be here because I'm observing it, it comes here. If I am over here and I'm looking for the electron and I'm looking for it to be here, it appears here. If there are two examiners looking for the electron, one expects it to be here, the other expects it to be here, both electrons appear at the same time and materialize into matter. That meant that this field is a field of frequency, and frequency, when collapsed together by an observer, becomes matter. It becomes a particle. This dual nature of wave and particle is what they call the wave-part duality. That light can behave as frequencies, as waves, and light can also change into matter. It can manifest as an electron if there's a conscious observer looking for it. Otherwise, it diminishes into a field of frequency, non-local, non-spatial. This is called collapsing the wave function. That for the first time there was a conscious observer using his mind, looking for the particle, the physical particle, to manifest in a field of energy that was governing the location of these electrons. And this therefore became the new basis for the atomic model, that the unpredictable nature of electrons makes the universe unpredictable, that there is more to this physical reality. If you look at the space of frequency, it is 99.9% space. This field that occupies our subatomic world is 99.999% space, which means that the electron that we're observing is only 0.01% of our reality. We're only observing 0.01% of our physical reality. When the electron is located in the field, it becomes part of the 3D world. This makes up only 0.01% of our reality. The real part of us is coming and going as field of potential, and that is 99.9% space, energy, light, and frequency. Light, frequency, and energy carry coherent information. It is the DNA of your spiritual field, of your energetic field. For the first time, Einstein comes around and makes this huge declaration, and he says energy is equal to mc squared. He uses c squared as the Planck's constant to establish the fact that light can both be matter and wave at the same time. It can both be a particle and wave at the same time, and energy, the mind that is observing this reality, has direct influence on matter. In fact, it is the same thing as matter. That the energy, the field of frequency here, the field of frequency which is non-local, which cannot be seen, which is exactly the opposite of the physical world. It cannot be measured. It's tangible, but it is full of frequency, light, and information, becomes the blueprint, the architectural blueprint of your physical world. And your physical world is less than 1% of your reality, and close to 100%, it is the field that is informing the matter. So energy becomes the basis of your material world. And this is what Einstein calls the theory of relativity. That energy is not just an external force applied on an object to change the states of matter, as they said in the physical world. Energy becomes the very fabric of creation. So your energetic blueprint decides what you will be in the physical world. So tell me this, when we're looking at our physical world and we're assessing who we are, we're only assessing not even 1%. We're not even looking at ourselves properly, because what we're made up of is something entirely different at the subatomic level. We're all energy, and energy has information. And if energy has information, that means there's an intelligence right now running your digestive system. There is an intelligence right now that is running your respiratory system. There is an intelligence right now that is taking care of your body without you even being consciously aware of it. This intelligence is what we want to tap into. It is this intelligence that is creating your reality. In the next lecture, we're going to look at how this intelligence can be utilized so that you can be a better version of yourself, so that you can access higher dimensions. Is this the only dimension available to us, our physical world? Or are there more? Stay tuned. Okay, so here is the model of the quantum atom, and you see that it is surrounded by an electron cloud, and it's occupied by 99.99% empty space. Welcome back. Let us quickly recap what we covered in the last lecture. And what was said in the last lecture was that the quantum model of reality gave people the autonomy to be the creators of their own life. It was for the first time that Einstein created an equation that solidified the importance of the human mind on matter. He said that there was an intelligence that was governing the field of matter based on the properties of light. When light could behave both as a wave and a particle, there's an intelligence that is influencing this equation. And you need a conscious observer to change a frequency into matter. And this, according to him, this is what he said: energy is the sole governing agency of a particle. That a particle cannot come into existence unless if the field of energy was present. And this field of energy is 99.9% space, right? It is in the space. It cannot be seen by the naked eye. There are no senses in this dimension. There is no measurement in this dimension because there is nothing tangible. There is only energy and frequency. And what are the characteristics of energy and frequency? They carry coherent information. They carry coherent information in form of light. And because of that, it becomes the most important currency, because based on a conscious observer, an act of an observer, an act of a mind, a thinking mind, reality can now be influenced. Your physical reality can now be influenced, but its characteristics are exactly the opposite of the physical world. It's non-local. There is no objects being separated from one place to another because there is no place. There is a unified field of energy. Energy cannot be separated, right? It's like an ocean. You can't separate it in sections, right? Whereas in the physical world, everything exists as separate things. So the idea that I'm separate from you is a very real reality in our physical world. But in the field of energy, everything is a unified field. It's the exact opposite. So here in the physical world where everything is tangible, I can touch, I can feel, our reality that this exists is because I can touch it, I can feel it, I can drop it. But over here, there is nothing tangible because everything is in form of energy, right? So there are no senses, there are no things, there are no places, and definitely there is no time, because how can time exist? Your notion of time implies that you need to move from one place to another, right? There has to be two different things for you to experience time in the middle. But in the unified field, there is no separation. Therefore, there is no time. I want you to remember that because we're going to come back to it, okay? So, having said this statement, what does our physical reality look like now? How do we really look then? Well, let's see. What are we made up of? What are we made up of? So at the very physical level, we're made up of organs, right? This is our physical body. If we went to the doctor today, he will look at our physical body and they'll say, you've got organs. Good. So what are organs made up of? Tissues. Okay. What are tissues made up of? Cells. Okay. What are cells made up of? Molecules. Okay. What are molecules made up of? Atoms. You see where I'm going with this? What are atoms made up of? Subatomic particles. And what's the configuration of subatomic particles? What are they made up of? Energy. So therefore, we, in the physical sense, exist. This is our 0.01% of the reality. What is our 99.999% of the reality? Energy. So now you can turn around and say, yes, we're very physical, but we are not only that. We are a very minuscule proportion of that is coming into reality. But what's more real than that is the field of energy. The subatomic particles, the trillions and trillions and trillions of subatomic particles put together create a field of energy, right? So we're both matter and we're both energy according to this principle. right? That the energy is the sole governing factor of the particle, right here. So we are energy and we're a physical body all at the same time. And now energy becomes your most expensive currency. Why? Because where you put your energy, where you put your attention is where you put your energy. If you have a conscious observer who is paying attention to this field, you have the ability to collapse this field into a physical existence. So where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So this now becomes a play of attention, energy, light, frequency, influencing your physical world, influencing matter. So here is what the unified field of energy looks like. Welcome back. So let's start out asking a simple question. Do you think your thoughts have anything to do with the reality that you're experiencing right now? According to the quantum model, yes, because you are more energy than you are a particle, than what brings you into physical existence. Now, the phenomenon that was established earlier was where you place your attention is where you place your energy, according to the quantum model of reality. So let's look at now what's happening at a very, very physical level. So at the very physical level, you are a body, right? We know that. And now you have energy around you, as was established by the quantum model of reality, right? So now you have a field around you that can be measured, right? The electromagnetic field that is our energy makeup can be measured. How can it be measured? Well, when you're having a thought, these are electric impulses going into the brain. They can be measured in form of brain waves. We're going to talk about that in a second. All right? And when you're having an emotion, which are nothing but energy in motion, that too can be measured by looking at the magnetic field around the body. In other words, if thoughts are for the brain or for the mind, then emotions are for the body. And there is always a mind-body connection happening within us in form of energy, right? Remember, we have energy all around us. The apparatus that we have in our physical body is the brain, which measures the fluctuations of your thoughts, and the body, the magnetic field around us that measures the state of our emotions. Okay, and this is really important because all this can be measured with sophisticated fMRI tools. All right. So now, if thoughts are for the brain and emotions are the magnetic fields of the body, what do we do in a typical day? If we are all energy, if we are mostly energy and a little bit of particle, where does our attention go throughout the day? Because where we place our attention is where we place our energy. According to the quantum model, this energy that you can tap into is infinite. It has infinite potentials waiting to be observed. It just requires you to pay attention, conscious, active attention, right? And you can explore a lot more than what just rests in a 3D world. But let's look at our typical day. Where do we use our energy? We established that energy is the most expensive currency. How do we use it? Let's see. So what happens what is the first thing that happens when you get up in the morning? If you're lucky enough to get up in the morning, you have a thought that you should first check your cell phone. 80% of the people now, when they wake up, before they even hit the toilet, they get a thought of first checking their cell phone. So we're breaking this down a little bit by bit, so you see how your thinking thoughts, how your thoughts and your body work together. They're not against each other, but they work together, okay? So you have a thought that you should check your cell phone. Your body responds by using a hand to pick up the phone, right? And you start looking at your phone and your energy is given there. You start feeling happy, all right? And then you have another thought of going to the toilet. and doing your business. Your body gets up, follows, right? Goes to the toilet with you. You have a thought of taking a shower, your body follows. You shave and you do whatever. For women, you put your lotions and your potions, you put your makeup on. You have another thought that you should now go outside and have your coffee, your body follows, and you have your coffee, and then you have a thought that you want to get ready. Your body follows that instruction. You've got emails, your body follows there. You have now personal engagements that you have to make during the day. Your body follows. You get into the car, you start driving, you get frustrated in the traffic, your body follows. You attend a few meetings, your body follows that. You start gossiping a little bit to get those endorphins. Your body follows the friends who are having that discussion. You then go ahead and go for your lunch. If you have some time, you can work out at the gym, you take some time off. It's time to go home. You drive back into the car, your body follows. You follow the same routine. You come home, you sit down for dinner, you have your dinner. If you have time, you hit the gym, your body follows. You have a thought that you should sit down and read a little bit or watch TV, your body follows you right to the couch and you sit there and you watch TV. You then get the thought that you're sleepy, right? Your body just feels tired, your body follows you right to the bedroom and you go to sleep. This is your typical day. This is how you've used up your energy during the day. All right? Let's look at what happens the next day. So this was Monday. What do you think happens on Tuesday? On Tuesday, you get up in the morning. You have a thought of getting up in the morning. Your body wakes up. First thing you do is you have a thought again of checking your cell phone. Your body acts on that. You have a thought of going to the toilet. You go to the shower. Your body follows you to the coffee station. Your body follows you to checking your emails. Your body follows you again to get ready. Your body follows you to the car. And blah, and blah, and blah, and blah. The same day repeats. So then, I don't really need to see your Monday and your Tuesday to predict your Wednesday and your Thursday and a Friday. You have basically lost your free will to a program. That means you're so predictable that nothing new has to happen. And if it does, it's a coincidence that it did, because we've become such predictable phenomenons in this 3D reality. This is where you place most of your attention. My question is, if you're placing most of this attention and you're depleting yourself of this vital field of energy, where are you going to have a moment to restore this supply? Where are you going to have a moment to restore your field of energy? Where? How are you going to restore it? Okay? Now let's see what's happening at an emotional level, because the brain and the body are in coherence. So whatever thoughts you're experiencing during the day and your body is following you, there is a response. If thought is an action, the body is a response. If thought is a stimulus, the body is a response. How does the body respond? Through feelings. So emotions are nothing but energy in motions, and these feelings can be measured, right? This is called your mood, right? So when you're having your predictable interactions during the day, what is happening to your state of mood? What is your state of emotion at that time? So let's look at our emotional engagements. We've got friends that we're energetically bonded to and they make us happy. We've got parents who are loving, but sometimes can be difficult. We're bonded to them. We've got children, a whole new breed that we don't know how to manage, which influences our emotional state of mind. We have our exes. We've got our achievements. Of course, for women, we've got our weight and our hair issues. We've got relationships to maintain. We may have broken marriages. We have cultural boundaries. We have circumstances. We've got cars we're attached to. We've got our attachment. We've got our career. We've got our salaries. We've got anything that defines us as worthy. We are emotionally bonded to. Okay? Never mind the self-image issues that society places upon us. Okay? These all influence our emotional state of mind. So now, not only do we have predictable thoughts and we're running to make everything happen, so we're good at that and we're successful at that and we're great at that, there's no flexibility left in anything because we've become such a predictive model. This was Newtonian physics, where everything could be predicted. We just played into this program and we become victims of our own state of mind. Okay? Because your thoughts and your body are working together. Every time you're having an emotion with someone or at some place or with something, you're energetically bonded to that thing. That means you're giving your attention to that thing, you're giving your currency to that thing, you're giving your power to that thing. A happy emotion is going to create, therefore, a communication between the body and mind as a happy thought. Because you're feeling good, everything is good. But when you're not feeling good, your body communicates that to your brain and tells it, I'm feeling not very good today. I feel crappy today. The brain obeys that command and creates more of crappy thoughts. That means everything that you're doing during the day is going to get a little more complicated than it would otherwise. A simple traffic signal would not bother you on a given day, but on that particular day when you're not feeling good, that signal is going to be very bothersome and it's going to affect your state of being. In other words, your thoughts and your feelings determine your actions, right? The way you're thinking and the way you're feeling is going to determine your state of being. Now, when you're in a predictive program where I don't even have to look at your Monday and your Tuesday to determine what your Wednesday and your Thursday is going to be, your body is not foolish. It is very intuitive and it knows the feeling of what that day will feel like before the day has even occurred. So is it any wonder that there is a high rise in mental health issues today? That there is no reason to wake up in the morning because the body is so perceptive. It knows that nothing new is going to happen. There is no more new feelings being generated. Feeling of hope, feeling of wonder, feeling of elevation, feeling like you're on top of the world. Does that happen to us every day? We don't. It doesn't happen because we're running through the program like machines, and machines don't feel. And therefore, people have lost their free will to a program. And now they've begun to rely on something outside of their environment to make them feel good. The increase in medicinal prescriptions, in antidepressants. This is not to take away from people who have real conditions. I'm simply saying that the prevalence of antidepressants in teens is extraordinarily high. The attachment to cell phones and endorphins and dopamines that are released when a child is using a phone is incredible. It's in high proportions. It's not normal. They no longer get satisfaction from going out and interacting with people. It's not part of the program. And therefore now we become dependent on our 3D reality, our 3D matter. And we have to work 10 times harder, 100 times more harder to get the same level of happiness than someone else. And then we start competing. And then we start chasing. And feelings of jealousy, anger, resentment, and hopelessness sink in. And indeed, if all energy is frequency, what kind of frequency do feelings of hopelessness, anger, frustration, competition hold? Are they elevated frequency? They're not. But yet, you're using this to create your reality. If you're an observer who's looking at your reality from a point of view of lack, according to the quantum law, it must manifest in your 3D world. It's as simple as that. There is no unseen hand that is doing this to you. You're doing it yourself and you're not even aware of it. Okay? And this is simply put, these are programs and conditionings that are put in our minds from the time that we're born. And this will bring me to the next topic where we talk about brainwaves. How did we fall into this program? When did we become so hopeless? When did we decide that in order to be successful, we must put another person down. When did we decide that in the spirit of competition, we must prevail to be successful? Stay tuned. I'll see you in the next session. Here is an example of the neurological activity when you're having a thought, your brain waves. This is your magnetic field, your body's response in relation to your thoughts. This is you interacting with the field when you're thinking. This is you interacting with another person and how you exchange energetic information as you're interacting with them. Here is your energy field as you move from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday, a predictable program. And this is how your energy field depletes as you go from one day to another day to a predictable pattern.